my friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is day 11 of our 13 days of Halloween series here at Polly's Paper Studio. If you're just joining in, you can find links in the top of the description so you can get caught up on the first 10 days. So for today's project, we are going to create an envelope with our punch board and add it to the front of our card and fill it with fun and festive tags. So these collections are some from my stash. I do try to pick up as many new collections as I can for you guys for these series because I know that you want to be able to get that product and be able to use it, and so I get as many as I can, but sometimes I just really love to work with paper that is in my stash. So this is authentic paper. The two collections I'm working with are Nightfall and Twilight. I think they work really well together, and I'm just going to combine them to create this fun card for Halloween. So stick with me, and to create the envelope that's going on the front of my card, I pulled out my envelope punch board. I'm going to follow the measurements to create an envelope that is 3 by 3.5. It directs me to cut my paper at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 and then score at 2 5/8. And that is going to give me a perfect size envelope to fit on the front of my 6 by 6 greeting card. I've got my card base prepared here, and I finished the inside with the pattern paper so I can begin to arrange all the layers for the front. So I'm going to be using a double matting. I'm going back to that Orange Fizz cardstock for the smaller layer and just regular black cardstock for the outside, and this is going to be the base. My next layer to bring in is going to be this spider web, and I'm choosing it for the background because it's going to read as a neutral, as the pattern is not very contrasting, and I want to get that right in the center. This piece was added with a foam spacer, so here's the first layer of dimension. I'm going to top it with this stripe. And now I want to brighten this up because it's looking a little bit dark, so I'm going to bring in a second spider web pattern. This time it is the black web on the lighter background, and they're very much smaller, so that is one way to help these paper patterns look less busy, is to alter the scale. That's going right in the middle again, and then I'm going to top it with my die cut doily. So this is just a Cherry Lynn Designs doily that I've cut from a crisp white cardstock, and I'm going to position this slightly left and higher than middle because that envelope will cover a bit of this and I want some of it to show. So here's my envelope that I created with my check pattern paper, and when I had it scored, I realized that I wanted to change the inside, what would show while the flap was open. So that's one thing that you need to consider if you're going to make envelopes from pattern paper, is that your backside is going to show, and that if it's a very directional print, part of it will be upside down. So you have to choose a non-directional print, and then remember, if you want to cover the inside, you can just cut a separate piece like I have here and line the inside of the envelope. I'm just going to put this in place, and it's going to reach nearly the full height. So I'm putting that basically right in the center. Then I'll lay in my secondary pattern. So once again, I'm going for a much smaller scale to keep all of these layers from looking busy. And I went ahead and clipped the end of this with the envelope punch board so that I could get that same shape. So now what I want to do is bring in my sides, and I am only adding adhesive to the portion here on the bottom because I don't want to accidentally seal up my envelope. That way I won't be able to get the tags inside. So the two tags that I picked for this are part of the journal card sheet, and I just used my tag die to get the shape. There also is a stitch detail around the edge, so that's a nice extra detail. I've put a eyelet in the top of each one, and then also put a little bit of this baker's twine through. That will add a little bit of nice texture. So my first one, I'm just adding at an angle here, and I've put this on only double-sided adhesive tape. I want that layer to be flat. And then this next one is going to be topped with the foam spacer, so I can get it flat on the bottom, but the top will have another layer of dimension. And this one I'm just putting at a different angle, and that will be a little bit more interesting to look at. So I've got that cat tag in there. There are some additional spiders on that, which are a little bit spooky. Here is a piece of the border strip, and I've just cut this to stretch all the way across the middle, and it's going border to border again, and I'm gonna just line that up with one side, and then I'm being careful to get that on as straight as I can so that it will meet up on the other side of the border. I've got a couple of stars here. These are die cut from a glittery cardstock. My first one I'm just going to tuck in here, so I can add that with my hot glue now. And then my second star is going to be closer to the bottom. So what I want to do is lay my flower arrangement in place just to see where all of those layers are going to fall so that I can get a nice amount of it showing. These are more of those flowers that I've made while camping. I just wanted to show this center is slightly different. So if you're not into putting stamens in the center, you can still finish them nicely with a vintage button with a little string. I liked the large orange flower. That tone was really helping to bring a more vintage look, and then I topped the larger flower with a smaller one with a polka dot, so that gives me a whole lot of detail in that flower, but I didn't have to add stamens. So I did alternate the colors. I've got orange and black and white here, another set of the smaller glitter stars on the end with loopy twine bows, and my foliage that's die cut from black cardstock. I've also added my bow here. This is a black gingham from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and I just added that first because I want it to land in a very specific way, and it is easier to do that before you add it to the card. So I'll just position this where I think it's going to go, and then I'll know exactly where I want that star to be, and I'll add that star here. This will help to fill in the arrangement. This is quite a large flower arrangement, but I think that it looks well balanced because I'm going to add a second smaller arrangement here to the top, and that will just finish off this top corner along with the glitter star. So that's it for our project for day 11. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you come back tomorrow for day 12. You can find links to all our social media sites in the description below. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you'll be alerted every time we add new content. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.